Hey guys, it's Stephen here back with another video, and today we're looking at 5 things that we learned from Manchester City's 1-0 victory over Southampton. It was a tense game, but it was an interesting game, and ultimately it was a pretty satisfying 3 points. So we're going to run through things that I personally thought were particularly interesting and discussion worthy. But before we do that, I've got news about a nice little Boxing Day giveaway by the wonderful people over at OneFootball. Now, OneFootball got in touch with me and said, Stephen, we've got this great little competition going on ahead of Boxing Day's football, and you can get involved as well if you want to by clicking the link in the description below. And all you've got to do is fill out a simple little form, and it's totally free, don't worry. And to win one of your favourite football team shirts, be it a City shirt, of course it's got to be a City shirt, or it could be a shirt from another team if you wanted to, you've got to basically try and predict the outcomes of the 5 fixtures on screen right now. So you've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Leicester versus Manchester United, Liverpool versus West Brom, City versus Newcastle, and Wolves versus Spurs. You don't have to predict the scores or anything like that. Simply just, if for example City are going to win, a draw, or Newcastle are going to win, all those kind of things, and you basically can get involved for free right now. So you've got to be quick basically, because obviously it's a Boxing Day giveaway, so you've got to get your entries in now by clicking the link in the description below. Big up OneFootball, it's a fantastic app and this is a wonderful competition, and best of luck to all those who enter. Right, let's get started on today's video. I'm going to start initially with John Stones. What a player, what a man, and the rumours of a new improved contract are pretty much definitely earned if his performances from yesterday are anything to go by. Obviously this could also be about Ruben Diaz, but I want to talk about John Stones because if anyone gives you hope for change at the moment, given everything that we're all going through, it's John Stones. Given that things can seemingly appear so low and things can seemingly seem unfixable, and it looks like the worst is about to happen in a situation, John Stones has shown that things can change just like that, not only in football but in life. He's absolutely turned things around, and I tell you what, right now he's an inspiration. Good on John Stones. I absolutely loved Guardiola coming out after the game praising how he's such a great person, how his family will be proud of him, and talked about how he's moved on from his personal problems and all this kind of stuff, which it's not exactly unhidden, so I don't feel bad mentioning it. It was just essentially a messy breakup, which happens to absolutely everyone, so it's totally understandable. But I think we're seeing the very best of John Stones, and when he's in this kind of form, it's literally world-class kind of form. Of course, it's very, very, very early days, so we don't want to get burned again by presuming that this is the John Stones that is here to stay now. We've seen this before, and that's what sometimes can kill you. The hope can kill you. But John Stones in this form is undoubtedly a very, very high-quality player. John, if you're somehow watching this, please, mate, please, we all love you at Manchester City. We all want you to carry on this form. Don't worry about making mistakes. Just keep on cracking on. And if you get injury or two, just focus, get your head down and find that form again. Because when you're in this kind of form, you're genuinely unplayable for opposition forwards. So far, him and Diaz are showing signs. Unfortunately for our other centre-backs, and I feel sorry for Laporte and Ake, but Stones and Diaz are clearly showing signs that this isn't really a flash in the pan currently. It looks like this is genuinely the real deal, and fingers crossed this can go on and on and on and on and on and on. Bit of a football song there. Next up is Bernardo. I mean, I thought there were signs of hope yesterday. Now, I'm not going to say he wasn't frustrating in some places, particularly in front of goal. I mean, what you doing, Bernardo? Just shoot. But otherwise, this was Bernardo, man. This was actually Bernardo that we know and love. And I think we've seen a couple of signs this season that is in there somewhere. And Bernardo yesterday gave his best performance of the season, in my personal opinion. Against a team that was willing to run and willing to graft, Bernardo showed that he had more than the answers for that kind of midfield pressure. It was great seeing Bernardo buzz around and go into full like kind of busy bee mode basically. He was absolutely everywhere, linking up with players. His touch was excellent. He also had that little kind of like jinkiness back to his game where he's gliding past people, and I'm sorry, Bernardo in that kind of form is genuinely undroppable. Now, I'm not sure if his position was a particular reason for that, but what I do know is he played right wing yesterday, and it did work for him. And I think it's probably fair to say that currently, given the form of most of our forward players, and no one's really kind of guaranteed a slot at the moment. So Bernardo, if there's a spot for him there, well, he's definitely there. If he wants it, he can definitely take it. And imagine the impact that a fully confident, fully informed Bernardo could have to this team at the moment. We need his intelligence. We need his confidence. We need his drive. I'm just hoping desperately. I guess like we talked about Stones, that this isn't just a false glimmer of hope. Of course, Stones has been a little bit better now than Bernardo has this season in general, but we need this to be built on. Bernardo, if you're watching somewhere, once again, please, man, forget what's ever happened in the past. Focus on your football and just be the Bernardo that we know you can be. Because yesterday, Bernardo was showing signs. Of course, he was still a bit frustrated in front of goal, but that looked to me like a lack of confidence. But overall, his game was excellent. It can be very, very important. Our third point is I think we obviously need a striker. Please, if we need a striker in Manchester City, we really desperately need a striker. Yesterday, Sergio Aguero, of course, wasn't deemed fit enough to play, and I think we're all concerned now that Aguero's long-term fitness isn't what we really need it to be, and I think that's probably understandable given his constant injuries. We might see Aguero back on the pitch scoring goals again, but at the moment it feels just as likely that he'll be on and off constantly. Which leaves with Gabriel Jesus, who I got a lot of respect for, but I think we all probably know he's not fully clinical in front of goal. But yesterday, Gabriel Jesus was off because he had teeth problems, apparently. He got a knock in the tooth, and I know what it's like when you've got really bad teeth problems. You just simply can't play football or focus if you've got agony in your teeth and stuff like that. So unfortunately, it left us with no striker, basically, that we could rely on. Aguero didn't come on because he's not fully there yet, and you wonder if he'll be fully there. I think it's obvious that Liam Delap, as good as he is, Guardiola doesn't have full trust in a raw 17-year-old yet. I would love to change that. I would love to see him on the bench. Please, in my opinion, if Guerrero's not going to be trusted, make him their next choice. And obviously we've seen Torres there as well, but I think it's also fair to say that Torres is good there, but he isn't the natural solution either. So whatever we do, we need to make sure, I mean, I'd love it to be in January, but it's not going to happen. We need to make sure that a striker is absolutely at the top of our list in summer, because I mean, it's weird that some of these performances have been so frustrating, but we would have probably been near the top of the league now. We've had a striker that was clinical. Despite the struggles we've had in creating chances, we still probably would have been near the top of the league. We had Haaland, for example, because we've still created enough chances to win the game. So please, Manchester City, get a striker. Interestingly as well, and the fourth point for me, was that there was a subtle change yesterday, and I think it was an admission from Guardiola, which to me was important, by the way, because it means that he's noticing the problems that we hope he'd notice. But it was a mission basically from Guardiola that we needed to get forward a little bit more. And yesterday, everyone was essentially going, "Oh my God, he's starting Rodri and Gundogan again in a double pivot." And when you watched the first half yesterday, it was pretty obvious to me that that wasn't a double pivot. That wasn't the Manchester City side that we'd seen recently. I think we did lose a little bit of defensive stability, hence why once we got the goal in the second half, we came out, we did sit back to double pivot. But in that first half, we kind of went toe-to-toe with Southampton. We really genuinely did. At times, Rodri was the only man trying to essentially kind of back in that number 6 role, with Gundogan was a lot further up the pitch alongside Kevin De Bruyne, with Rodri doing the Fernandinho kind of role of previous years. Now, I'm not sure it necessarily worked in every single way. Did we get a bit better going forward? We did, and I think it genuinely helped the team having Gundogan a little bit higher up the pitch. But did it expose Rodri a little bit in the first half? I can't deny that, unfortunately. Rodri, alongside Gundogan in the second half, I genuinely thought was pretty good. You got an awful lot of hate in the first half. He'd been dispossessed a couple of times in a couple of sloppy passes. I think the first 20 minutes he was a little bit sloppy. He got a little bit better in the second half of the first half, if that makes sense. But I think it was fair to say that he had an awful lot of people running at him in the first half, and he just simply couldn't deal with it. We kind of rode a look a little bit defensively, we stood up, but there were some signs of an instability defensively that maybe, just maybe, might come back to bite us in the arse if we hadn't changed it back to the usual system in the second half. But I think it was obvious from the subtle change that if we do play 2 false 8s, basically, like we kind of did in the first half, we can create more chances, which does leave us with a fine balancing act. Maybe Gundogan's a solution there. He's a little bit more press resistant on the ball there. Who knows? But there was a change in the first half, and I thought that was particularly notable. Finally, can we just fucking shoot? Shoot. Please, just shoot. Every now and then you watch Manchester City and you want to just scream and tear your hair out. Guardiola must have been doing something. Maybe that's why he looks even more bold than ever at the moment. I reckon that was one of the worst examples of not shooting when we got a chance yesterday from Bernardo. It reeked of David Silva. David Silva's done that a couple of times, and I'm sorry, that frustrated me absolutely loads at the end when he decided to pass to Mahrez. And there was another one as well where Bernardo got the ball from Kevin De Bruyne. His first touch took him towards the goal, and his second touch, instead of just smacking it with his right foot, he tried to go around the defender. We've got a current tendency, and we've always had it to a bit, but more so than ever at the moment, of just not shooting when we're near goal. We try and walk the ball into the back of the net, and we really genuinely need to get past this habit because it's so destructive. I think, to be honest, it's symptomatic of Manchester City not being that confident at the moment. When you're not really confident and when you're not really in form, and I think Guardiola knows this, you're less likely to pull the trigger, and you're more likely to try and pass it over to someone else so they can kind of deal with the important bit. But we need to be basically a little bit more arrogant, a little bit more selfish, and simply just buy a ticket so we can try and win the lottery. I don't mind a missed chance if you just kind of go for it. But when you constantly pass it around in front of goal, it's going to come back to haunt us. And it kind of has. We know this, it has. But yesterday was infuriating in front of goal. I mean, to be honest, if we'd shot a couple of times, we would have been sat here looking at maybe a 2-0 victory comfortably away from home, or 2 or 3-0 victory. Everyone would have gone, you went to Southampton, one of the teams in the top 4, and you won 2 or 3-0 comfortably and didn't really give away any big chances. That would have been impressive. But that old frustration in front of goal was what made this result feel a little bit frustrating, despite something that should have been really good. Anyway, guys, that's 5 things that I personally took from this game. A thank you to all the patrons scrolling down the side of the screen as ever. And don't forget to go and enter the Boxing Day competition over on OneFootball. Click the link in the description. It's free. You get a chance to win a free shirt, and all you've got to do is test your football knowledge and predict the outcomes of 5 games. Just 5 games. Go and do it right now. Like, comment, subscribe. Get me to 50,000, and I'll see you tomorrow for another video in a bit.